Emphasis on company and corporate governance as a way of turning the tide on culture appears to be growing. Hello and welcome to Well Intel Daily. I'm Annie Hood. This is the podcast that showcases why wellbeing culture matters for you and your business. For some brands and organisations, the inappropriate behaviour of the few has led to crisis and or demise. From the BBC to the CBI, ITV and indeed the corridors of power in Westminster. But what is this going to mean relative to tolerance, to conduct and to the overall governance of companies from a board perspective? I don't know the specific answers, but the gaps are becoming more glaring. And those on the receiving end of poor behaviour or abuses of power are feeling more empowered to speak up. Of course, this is positive, but it's also far more perilous if a toxic culture exists or policy is not clear. Perilous, I mean, from a company governance standpoint and how a subsequent crisis or situation is then managed. What specifically are we talking about? Well, fundamentally, it's an abuse of power, whether that is a #MeToo, a sexually motivated situation, or a culture of toxicity where unreasonable work pressures prevail, or a work environment where people simply do not feel psychologically secure. All of these situations are poor for the employee, and they are also a threat to the business. I was speaking to a neighbour earlier today who works in the City of London, and we were having a coffee together, and he was telling me how much of what I describe is still so prevalent in London's Square Mile. And interestingly, he drew a comparison to Wall Street, where there is zero tolerance for alcohol being consumed during work hours. Now, that's not so in London. Liquid lunches may be less, but they still happen, particularly on Fridays, he tells me. And he shared at the same time his pride of 7 years sobriety and wondered aloud how different it may be if alcohol were banned from all and anything work-related. I thought that was an insightful parallel. So what now needs to happen? Is it about zero tolerance for inappropriate behaviour? Is it focused cultural shift, a reimagining of policy? One thing is for sure. It falls upon board directors to be stewards of more robust governance that protects people as well as their business. Tomorrow, as evidence of climate change increases, is less actually being done to prevent it happening? Join me for your own conversation and consultancy at wellintellect.com. Do follow, share and review, and of course, be well.